and Kai, how do you plan to improve campus diversity?
Well, as campus diversity, if you guys know myself and Kai, we are as diverse as and that's really the message of it all. Our message is University United. It doesn't matter that I'm a Democrat and he's a Republican. It doesn't matter that I'm black and he's white, and we come from different places. And we want to be that example. And we feel that if we can get that going and you guys pick up on it, things will be incredible here at ORU. Amen.
I think that, as Jonathan said, we are very different, but we're different in such a way that we can work together and become dynamic. And I think that ability to be dynamic appeals to so many students that I think we'll be able to provide a system of communication that we can identify with the students and really improve representation for the entire student body.
This is for all the presidential candidates. Is your resume one of the main reasons for your candidacy? We're going to start with Sierra and work our way back around.
No, my resume has nothing to do with me running. If it were about a title to be put onto my resume, then I wouldn't have already had the foundation built that I do now. I just want to continue to build off of that, and I will do so as SA president or in what other leadership capacity I can do so. But it has nothing to do with a title that would go on my resume.
Jonathan?
No, that's not the reason I'm running for SA president. It's not about the resume. I will be honest, and I know what the resume will look like, and I'm aware that it will be enhanced. But that is not the reason why. The reason why is because we have the vision, and our vision is based on what Oral Roberts' vision was, and that's to go into every man and every woman's world, and that's what it's all about here. Resumes are not at all a priority in this decision to run for SA president. Making life and making college, like I said, a better experience for you guys is the reason.
When I think about my reason for running, or the things that are pushing me in this election, I think about the word faithful. And that's, I heard someone say the other day, it speaks a lot about the volume, the character of a man, if he can be faithful with another man's vision. And in serving as a president, I want to be faithful with the vision that's in this university. Now, do I think that the experiences that I would learn and gain from serving as SA president are invaluable and incredible for the rest of my life? Yes. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to do that if elected. But my goal and the thing that's pushing it all is just being faithful to serve and to lead this campus well.
This next question is for all of the vice presidential candidates. What specific ideas do you have for improving current SA events? And we'll start with Kai.
As we mentioned before, efficiency is a key thing in Jonathan and my relationship. And I think that we need to be efficient when working with the event coordinators and the cabinet to make sure that our events are high quality and financially sound. And so we're going to look at bringing in new bands and other things. And we're going to look into a whole bunch of new possibilities, as well as taking a lot of input from the students, finding out what they want, and then applying that to the events.
I'd say that we have a very similar vision. We also want to create cost-effective activities, but that are open to more students and allow us to utilize more students, allow them to be involved in the activities. But so if specifics of what we're asked for, some of the things that Judge and I talked about, for example, Party Festival. You can create events that are sports activities like a 3-on-3 volleyball tournament or something like that that allow much more students to be involved and do something instead of standing around and just talking. Also, such things as Wing Week, more communication between floors so that floors can get involved.
The programs department actually works really hard to make sure that all of their activities are unique and are effective, and that they are actually something that students want to be involved in. For example, upperclassmen. I have targeted upperclassmen to my events this year, which includes Fall Outreach After Party and the banquet. I decided to go with a nicer venue in order to appeal to upperclassmen, because upperclassmen typically don't get as involved. But also finding out that each target, like I was saying before, each commuters and whether or not these students paying TMS and whatever, they each need events that are tailored to them to support them.
Thank you, Candace. Okay, we have some questions coming through that are for individual people, so we're going to give them 40 seconds to answer. The first one is for Sierra. Sierra, you've only been here for 2 years. Have you gained enough knowledge about the campus and culture to be able to represent us well?
I believe I had gained exponential knowledge. Derek and Dexter were here for 2 years, and look what they've already accomplished. I believe I could build off of that and do even more. Since the day that I got here, I got my feet wet at ORU, and it hasn't stopped. The pace hasn't settled. I've done everything that I can, and I think that through experience you can see all the things that I've already accomplished because I have the experience, and I can do a phenomenal job if you will let me as your SA president.
Thank you. Gentry, this next question is for you. Gentry, why should we trust you as SA president?
Good question. I believe that one of the most important things to me is character. And I believe that is something that I value in my life more than anything else. It's my character. And 2 years before even coming to college, I took time to invest in my character at Leadership Academy, where all I did was learn things like integrity, excellence, hard work, and determination and discipline. I spent 2 years doing those things, so that by the time I came to college, I was able to jump into ORU as a leader instantly, already having my identity found in the Lord, already knowing more about myself, and able to really establish myself at this campus as a leader, and I want to continue to do that and provide ways to use my character so that you can trust me. Thank you.
We're going to keep giving all the candidates 40 seconds and let them relax a little bit. This is for all the vice presidential candidates. How will you support your presidential candidate even when you disagree with them about a decision they're about to make? And we're going to start with Joe.
Again, as I mentioned before, transparency is so key when it comes to any leadership position. Between Gentry and I, this is something we talked about. This is actually a question I had to bring to him because people ask me, what do you think about what happened in the last years of SA? How would you confront that type of issue if there was something between you? And definitely what would happen was I would come to him one-on-one and say, Gentry, what is this decision? What is behind this? And is this the best thing for SA to put itself behind? And so in that way I can find out where his heart is. And if I don't agree, I think I'd have to support him anyway because he is a president and he is my superior. However, I think that I'd be able to talk to him and be able to persuade him that maybe this is not the best thing, or maybe he'll persuade me that it is the best thing.
I feel like I wouldn't have to worry about this too much, not only because Sierra and I share the same vision, but because I know Sierra is willing to listen to my voice. I know that Sierra isn't just going to use me as a workhorse or anything like that, but that my words actually have a purpose whenever I speak them to her. But also, I know that I can trust Sierra. If I couldn't trust Sierra, and if I didn't know that Sierra was going to be making the best decisions for the student body, even if I didn't necessarily understand or agree, I wouldn't be running with her. So, that's my answer.
Jonathan and I agree on almost everything, but I'm sure there'll be something eventually that we don't agree on. But I respect Jonathan enough to trust his judgment, and when he makes a decision that I don't necessarily agree with, I trust him to make the right decision.
This next question is for Kai. Why should I take you and Jonathan seriously when you yourself said you weren't even on the ticket until a day or so ago?
I didn't know I was going to be on the ticket before a day or so ago, and that's basically it. Some stuff happened, like I supported Jonathan Townsend before I was on the ticket, and as I said, some stuff happened and he asked me to run with him. We prayed and decided it was the best thing. I have served this campus on the GA and a bunch of other capacities, and my desire to serve as vice president I don't think should be in question.
This question is for both Joe and Gentry, and Jonathan and Kai. We'll start with Joe and Gentry. What experience do you have here in activities?
In serving in SA, the experience that I have in activities would just be working the events. Now I know that isn't as much the experience as you would have in planning the events, but one thing I know that has been very valuable is in working at them, just getting ideas and creative new ways to make them better and improvements that can happen. However, if we look at the Office of Student Association President, I really think that the important role is not to have to be able to be the one putting on the event, but being able to create a team that will work well together with great communication. And as president, I want to be as involved as possible as being there and helping out in bringing my ideas to the table, but trusting the staff that we would hire to do an excellent job. And I really believe that's what would happen. We would work well as a team and create great events. Thank you.
Okay. Well, so we're both answering this.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I've also worked with activities, not through SA, but through the honors program. Been involved in creating a lot of activities. In fact, this year I created an activity called Honors Program Speak, which was a student-faculty dialogue, brought in professors to speak on certain topics and allowed students to come and listen to them. It was a phenomenal success. Our first one was on art and church, and it was just phenomenal. Actually, our next one was supposed to be at this exact time, but I had to reschedule it for 1 week from the day. But as far as activities goes, I look forward to being able to be involved in more activities through SA. I've gone to many of SA's activities already, and so having been there, just like Gentry said, having seen things that we can do better. So I do have experience in activities outside of SA that I can even incorporate ideas into SA as well.
Well, for the majority of my activities I've been involved with here at the school have been mostly political activities, but it doesn't stop there. I've also been involved in some of the outreach programs, specifically the ORU and the Victory Christian and the Dream Center outreach programs that go out to North Tulsa, which is where I stay, by the way. Also, I myself have developed a nonprofit organization that is really seeking an Oral Roberts connection and a partnership, and it's called NEON, Neighbors Encouraging Other Neighbors. And it will kick off this August, and we are really trying to get as much Oral Roberts participation as we can. And it's been a pretty good progress, and we're looking forward to next year. And it's good.
Well, I've served in two major capacities that have involved coordinating activities and events. One is the position of a chaplain. As a chaplain, I've been in charge of putting on several different wing events and things like that, and that's been very knowledgeable. But also, I started a nonprofit organization with my dad a few years back called New Mission Ministries, and basically worked with the Chinese government to expand religious freedoms over there. And this involves networking with people to get evangelists over there to help serve when forming policy, and also coordinating, more specifically coordinating theological seminars at the Yanling Theological Seminary over there. And now, it's no easy project to create an activity and an event halfway across the world. And so I think that my ability to do that speaks a lot about my ability to do that here.
This next question is for Gentry and Joe. It says, in your Facebook group, y'all have either seemed annoyed when voters ask questions or ignored them. Will you do this to us in office next year?
I'd like to point out that that question is absolutely false. The accusation is not true because we've answered many of the questions. I specifically have answered questions, and Gentry has answered questions. Specifically, I'm trying to think of one of the questions that I answered, talked about if we were qualified enough, if Gentry was qualified. And Gentry actually commented back, recorded a video and answered back with a video. So I don't know if he's ignoring them with this video, or I'm not sure what he's doing with this time. But he actually talked about his qualifications and why he's fit to run, and I think I just took his answer. But I think that we have responded, and if you look, you can see that we actually have responded. More than that, we will listen next year, definitely, and that's one of our main goals, is to increase communication. I think Gentry wants to talk about that.
That's right, teamwork right here. I really don't see why people would say that. If questions weren't answered, it was probably because we were in class or doing something where you don't answer them on the minute, every minute. But when I had opportunities to do that, believe me, I was on Facebook and trying to answer the questions to the best of my ability. And in fact, took a good time in the prayer garden trying to record that video right before missions meeting that night, because I know it's important for you to hear my heart and to see who I really am. That's one thing that I really, really want you to know, is that I am such an approachable person and I love relationships. I'm one of the most relational people that I've ever met. I love people. And humble, let me tell you. And I love people and I love building relationships. Seriously, I've enjoyed so much getting to know people with the diversity here at ORU and all the different people. So, we will listen.
Thank you, Gentry.
Thank you.
This question is for Sierra and Karis. Do you guys feel you have a strong emphasis or influence from Derek Balderson? How strong is his influence on your campaign, if any?
I believe that Derek Balderson has been a great example of what a vice presidential candidate should be and what a leader should be. So he has had strong emphasis on this campaign because we can see what it looks like to be a true leader and then follow that. The same with Dexter Sullivan. Both of them have, but not because they're pouring their hearts out into this campaign, but because they're giving us something that we can look at and then we can grow off of that. So yes, Derek Balderson has been a strong emphasis because he is a great example of a leader and he is absolutely encompassing things that the work ethic and the drive that we want to produce next year in SA. And I thank you, Derek, for that.
Thank you, guys. This next question is for Kai. Kai, is it true that you are interested in abolishing the honor code for everyone not in leadership?
Okay, this is the thing. In the General Assembly, we have a lot of downtime once in a while. And I wrote a bill because this is something that a pretty good portion of ORU students have talked about. And I think that as representatives, even if we don't agree with it, we should represent their view and present that to the GA. And so I wrote a bill to represent their view. It's not my view, but however, I do feel that it is my responsibility to represent those people who don't necessarily have a seat on the GA.
This question is for Karis. Karis, it seems like you're really passionate about events. Why do you think you're qualified to be VP instead of just events coordinator?
I know that the position of VP takes a lot of experience with activities. The VP position is kind of the in-between between the office, the program's office, and administration. So why I like that position is because because I feel as though I have the best potential out of the tickets. That's why. Though I know I am capable of doing the cabinet position, I think that I can do better somewhere else. So that's
This next question is for Joe. Joe, I know that M&I has a lot for you to do. How do you think you can handle it and also be VP?
It's a great question because I'm not an MMI. So I'm actually a finance major, however I'm a media minor, so I can see how that question would come up. I've taken media classes, however I'm a finance major, and I don't think that my finance classes will hinder me from doing a great job as SA. In SA.
I am SA.
Okay, this question was originally written for all the presidents, but I really like it, so I'm going to let everyone answer it, and you have 25 seconds. How many classes have you skipped this semester? Let's start with the girls. Start with Karis, we'll work our way around.
2 850 Pilates and a good amount of B-Law too.
I had missed a 750 comm internship class because I slept in my alarm, and I'm sure there have been others that I have missed too, but that is the first one coming to my head. Sarah Cannon.
I've only skipped one. It is backpacking, and they're actually in class right now. So
A few weeks ago, did anybody see me in the parking lot with my car smoking? It was going crazy, almost on fire. I missed some manatees because of that. Thanks to security, they helped me get home. And also, poor Coach Duke, I miss his badminton class a time or two. So I love Coach Duke.
That's a fun question. I think anyone here on this panel could agree, at least I did, like this week has been such a crazy week preparing for this campaign. I definitely missed some classes this week. In fact, I missed my classes this morning because I slept in because I was up till 4 doing quantitative analysis homework with Gentry. So, I mean, we have skipped some, but that's obviously not something that we want to do anyway. That's my question.
I think I've skipped PFP twice this week. And that was the only classes I've skipped this semester. But be assured, I talked to Dr. Martin in the hallway today. We talked it out, and he was excited for us, wanted to know how we were doing, and I assured him I would be in class on Tuesday. But I love that class, so believe me, I didn't want to miss it. Just so I could use some sleep so I could save my voice. But other than that, I love school, so.
Okay, this question is for Karis and Joe. Kai has obviously shown that he will be a voice for the people even when it doesn't necessarily represent his views. Will you do the same? Sure. We'll start with Karis.
Yes, I would love to do that. I would love to be the voice of the students, even if I don't necessarily favor the things that you speak about. For example, I don't necessarily favor a lot of the things in the honor code, but yet I have placed my name to it. It is my responsibility to do so and to follow it out of integrity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and that's my example.
There's obviously no bias in that question, so I'd love to answer that. Yeah, I agree with exactly what Kara said. You know, integrity and character is an important part of who I am and who I want to be. And you know, we're all here at ORU to grow and to become the people that God has called us to be in our ministry and our lives. So I can equally say that I would listen to the voice of the people and not let my opinions that I would have an impact on that. In fact, it's most important that leadership does that they be non-biased, that they be objective, so that you can really hear each side and make a great, equal decision and a fair decision. So I agree that I would do that.
Thank you. This next question is for Jonathan. You've previously stated that you are talking to a pizza place that is going to offer alternative food options for the students. If you do not win, will you hand over the paperwork and plans for the new president that is selected?
You guys probably couldn't hear him, but Joe said you better. Well, you know what? Like I said before, I probably would. I mean, I'll take that back. I would hand it over because, like I said, it's all about the betterment of the people. That's what it's about. Whether we win or lose, I still love ORU. I still love you guys. I want this school to provide comfortable stays for you guys. And like I said, if it's a good idea and it comes from me, why not give it to Gentry? Why not let Sierra run with it? You know, pass the torch if you can. We all can't serve as president or vice president, but we all do love this school. And I'm not selfish like that. I'm not going to sit in the corner and pout about it. I'm going to let these guys provide you with a better college stay.
This next question is for Gentry and Karis. We'll start with Gentry. How was your time working in SA? Were you a diligent employee?
I believe that in serving in the office of SA this year as an administrative assistant, I have had the opportunity of seeing the office as a whole. Now, in serving there, I could say that there's definitely times where I could have been more excellent in my position, but the best thing that I believe I can take from that experience is to provide ways for administrative assistants next year to be excellent. Because many times I'm sitting in the office, and if you read the daily log, over the course of the last couple of months, it says, nothing happened today, no one came in, we did nothing. So every time I sit there, it's like, I want something to do, and I want to be able to have a specific task assigned to me that I can do well. And if serving in SA next year, that's what I want to do. I want to create a role for administrative assistants to be able to be excellent at their job with a clarity of vision for what they're doing, striving towards a goal. So I could always do that.
Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you.
The amount of hours I have put into the activities department goes way beyond my scholarship for this semester. I am working in my room. I am working in class, which I know I shouldn't be doing, but sometimes someone has to get it done, you know, and I also have another job. I'm paying to be here, and yet I'm still making sure that SA is a priority, and I'm trying to manage classes, another job, to stay here, and activities, and yet I'm still giving it the most that I can, because not only do I love doing it, but I see how it's important. So.
This next question is for all of the presidential candidates. Spirituality is a core emphasis here at ORU. How are you going to continue to spiritually revitalize our ORU community? And we'll start with Jonathan and work our way down.
Well, as we all know, that being president of SA, spirituality, you are the spiritual leader on campus, at least for the student body. There will be opportunities to speak in chapel, and if you're not sincere, people are going to see that. And I have a wonderful relationship with my Heavenly Father. I ask Him which way to go each day. I wake up in the morning and I forgive Him, and I ask Him for forgiveness at night when I go the wrong way. But being a spiritual leader on campus is a heck of a responsibility. But I do feel that I'm a faithful servant, and I have a peace about it within my being, my spirituality.
Last year as a student, I had the privilege of helping start the prayer movement with the Friday night prayer meetings. And in those times of praying every Friday night for the campus and for the students, something was birthed in my heart for this place. It really was. And I really enjoyed just being able to pray with my fellow students during those prayer meetings, and that's something that has carried on throughout this summer. I remember being so excited to serve as an RA and praying for the guys and praying that something would happen at this place. So I definitely believe that my time spent in prayer for this campus is something that will exalt us further in Student Association to see the vision and the mission statement on which this university was founded fulfilled and established within the hearts of every student as they graduate from this place and go into all the world, bringing healing. So definitely I'm excited about that.
Currently right now I serve as a chaplain on Francis 9, and I absolutely adore being able to impart into other people's lives, but mainly just to be able to see a seed take harvest in my life, and those girls pour into me just as much as I pour into them. I'm also involved in the prayer movement this year. Last semester I was leading 2 prayer movement sections, but mainly what I want to say is I think it's so important for a spiritual leader, and this is on all of our posters, everything we've stood for since the beginning, to be transparent, to come beside you guys and show you, like, I am a broken person and God is using me in spite of that. That's when revival will take place on this campus. When you can allow yourselves to be broken as a leader before each other, come beside each other and let God move, and I want to see that happen next year.
This next question is for Karis. Karis, the vice president is over the GA. You're the only candidate that hasn't been in the GA. Does this put you at a disadvantage? How do you plan to lead the GA?
Actually, the job descriptions for vice president and president, I'll change how I'm going to word this. Sierra and I went over those job descriptions, and because Sierra is already involved in it, we've already gotten it approved that Sierra would actually be able to manage GA. Because it's something that she's so passionate about and something that I think is great, and I love the vision of it, but something I'm not already involved in. And it's something she actually asked to take over. So that's kind of how we're going about it right now. So no, it's not a disadvantage.
This one's for Gentry and Joe. You talk about enhancing relationships between brother and sister wings. What have you done personally to accomplish this year, if anything?
I currently am serving as ARIA MOG, and That's right. We have Mariah and Cairo says that's what's up. And something that I love, some of the traditions that we do with our sister wings. I can think of many times running out and saying happy birthday at 12:01 a.m. And going and yelling from the bottom of Claudia's. And I can remember one time them surprising us with a water balloon attack. And then giving us cookies at the end. But also, besides that though, serving as an RA this year, I spent 2 years serving as a core advisor with Teen Mania, where I worked every single day for 365 days a year with two sister wings, where I learned how to work well with women, and I learned how to lead a family of people together excellently and create unity amongst us. So I definitely am excited about that.
Okay, this is for the presidential candidates. Do you believe God told you to run? If so, what will you say if you lose? We'll start with Jonathan and work our way down, so I don't know.
Well, I indeed do believe God told me to run for this position. I'm not wavering at all in my heart. I know I was called to do so. However, if I lose, I've learned so much during this campaign, during this week. I've had to come up from the bottom and dealing with a lot of adversity, and it's made me stronger. I've learned how to become adaptable, which I think is a very good trait for an SA president. But I had to adapt in a matter of 18 hours and find a new running mate who was ready at the time to work. So I've learned things, it's going to be a positive in the end. But I do know that God did call me to run for this position for one reason or another.
When I think about running and when I felt like there was something in me that was saying, yes, run, and I believe that was the voice of the Holy Spirit, I knew that it was because in the times of my praying for this position and for student association and for this campus, that was the only thing that made sense. The only thing that made sense was this position. And God called me and He said, run. He didn't say win, He said run. He said, run the race that you're called to run and do that. And so at the end of the day, whoever wins, it's Jesus. If I lose, it's Jesus. And I will do something else in this campus in leadership and do it excellently and hopefully work with these people in some way, shape, or form of leadership to move this place forward. But I'm excited. If I win, it's Jesus. If I lose, it's Jesus. At the end of the day, it's Jesus.
I also believe that I was called to run for this position. If you know me since my freshman year coming in, I knew that this was something I felt like I was ultimately going to be able to do. Through the process of running, I've learned so much about myself, so much about Karis, so much about the student body and the needs of the student body. So at the end of it, I'll be able to look back and see that God was working through the whole process. I know I was called to run. I told Karis this, I've told everyone this, exactly what Gentry just said. Being called to run and being called to win are two different things, and I don't believe that God has told any of us specifically that we are going to win this thing. But the process that I've gone through, I've been able to grow so much spiritually, and I'm so thankful that God did call me to run.
This next question is for Karis. Does Will Rutherford vote for you, his girlfriend, or Gentry, his RA?
I feel like I know who could have asked this, but that's for me. Sorry, Gentry.
I told them. I said that's the man that they need.
I think so too. That's why I did him.
Good answer, Karis. Okay, this next question is for everyone, so we're going to limit you to 25 seconds. What would you say to people who think you've changed your behavior since deciding to run for office? We'll start with Joe.
I would love to start this question. I actually literally had this thought this week. It was a cool thing that when I was walking down the hallway, I said hi to someone, and then and then someone was like, "Wow, you're being political." I was like, I feel like this is the way that I always am. I think that if you look at Gentry and I, we're always personable people and we love people. And our character has not changed this week. I mean, we might be saying hi to more people, but it's only because that's just what we have to do in order to win this position. But more than anything, we're the same people and we still love people just as much as before.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't feel like I've changed in any way, shape, or form throughout this week. one thing I know is I've found who I am, and my identity is found in Jesus. And so if people say it's different, that's their opinion. At the end of the day, I'm accountable to Jesus, I'm accountable to Him, and that's who I'm going to be, and that's who I am. So I guess I sum this up in saying, you just do you, and I'm going to do me.
I've actually made a conscious effort to make sure that I stay consistent with who I am. I know that I have not been as involved in this last year as I once was, which was almost hectic how involved I was. And that is simply because I wanted to take a year to really figure out who I am, and what it is that I am passionate about. The only thing that's different about me right now is the fact that I'm wearing nails. So.
Yeah.
I don't think I've changed through this whole process either. I've kept my same friends. I've made new friends. That's something I love to do. I think a lot of people have met me for the first time during this process, so maybe that may come off as something that's changed, but really it hasn't. I haven't changed at all. My character is the same. I'm the same person. If anything, I would say I've grown a lot through this whole process. So if any changes occurred, it's only been growth.
I honestly don't think my behavior this week has changed at all. I said hi to a lot of people this week. I say hi to a lot of people every week. I love meeting new people. I just love getting to know people. People fascinate me, and I love getting to know people better and better every day. And I honestly think that I've behaved the same this week as every other week.
This question comes up every year. I mean, everybody's always accusing the candidates of changing and stuff, but it's consistency, and that's what it comes down to. And I know who I am, and who I am in Christ. And I'm not trying to change for anybody here. It's not about that. I want you guys to get to know me a little bit more, and I want to get to know all you guys. And I've learned a lot about who I am this week. But I'm not trying to change for anybody. I want you guys to vote on the character that you know that I have. So,
This next question is also for everyone. We're going to start with Sierra and Karis. Again, you're going to have 25 seconds. If you could vote for someone other than your team, who would it be?
If I could vote for someone other than my team, I would vote for Joe Nanowski and Gentry Olsen because I have relationships with both of them. Joe has become one of my really good friends through the course of this process. I know his heart. I can see his vision, and he's worked alongside me in GA to see things accomplished. So that would be my team.
Our goal is definitely to serve, so I think it's kind of weird to answer this question. I actually have not put very much thought into it because all we are is focused. But I would say Gentry and Joe, simply because one is involved in GA and one is involved in SA.
It has been a pleasure to work with Sierra on the GA, and, you know, I'd have to say Sierra and Karis because, you know, they're good people at heart.
Well, I remember this question very well from last year, and I learned the political thing to say, but I'm not even going to really say it. I would have to say Sierra from what I know about her. I've learned she seems to be a very compelling person in our engagements, and Karis as well. Not really as much. I don't really know as much about her, but I feel that Sierra would be a good person to work with, and she's obviously acknowledged that. So I would say Sierra and Karis.
I would also say the same thing. I've had a relationship with Sierra through the GA and then through other experiences that we've had both last semester and this semester. We're both chairmen on different committees, and I think that Sierra has got a great heart, and I really appreciate her. And if anyone has asked me offhand, one person to person, I've told them that I would support Sierra if I was not running. I've said it to many people. You can ask anyone. So I think Sierra is a great candidate.
Yep.
I have to agree with Joe. If I were to vote this election with myself and Joe outside, I have to vote for student cares. I really appreciate their vision and their heart. I think that it's very lined up and similar to ours, and so that's the team that I would want to work with in the future, and would see it working well together in the future. So I appreciate them. I appreciate the hard work and what they stand for and their characters. So now I got to know Paris better actually. So
Yes.
she's a great person.
We are a lot. We are together a lot.
Yeah, we have like every class together. It's been a fun week.
Yeah, and we're not mad at each other, and we're not hostile.
Not whatsoever. I've even put their posters up.
Thank you.
No one was
Okay, this next question is for everyone. We're going to start with Gentry and Joe. How do you plan on doing it grande this year?
People need to know what that means.
Last year, that was a brilliant campaign slogan, to be honest. It was doing it grande. My roommate, Marielle, and I actually adopted that as a life motto. So we just want to know how the candidates exactly plan on doing that this year. If you win.
Yes, if elected, I think Joe and I would like to do it grande by just continuing to move forward in momentum. One thing that we have just always thought very highly of is the current SA administration, and momentum is one of our key words with leading to service in our platform and our goals and objectives. And so we want to just keep the momentum going, get it bigger, better, and just more organized with activities and services. So.
It was actually funny because at one point Gentry and I had talked about that, and I said, why don't we just do it venti? And he didn't find that very suitable. But no, definitely the one part that he mentioned, we have 3 objectives. It's vision, service, and community. And the second one being service. We've always talked about momentum as kind of our key word that we want to associate with that. So we want to keep moving forward. We want to provide better services. I mean, this is now becoming a general platform thing. So that's what we want to do.
I think a way we're going to do it better than grande or do it grande or whatever it was is one of our 5 things, and that was progress. And not just to see the things that already exist, but the potential for things that can exist and make those happen. And that can only be done through working with you guys, alongside you guys, and taking everything that you have to say to heart. So I would just say progress and continuing to work towards what can be.
Well, we feel that in order to do it grande, we have to come together. Unity is very important. And one way we feel that we can create that is by having events that allow us to have more school spirit. School spirit, for example, pep rallies are something that we are really excited about. We feel that if we are elected as SA president and vice president, we would have pep rallies before the big basketball games and big events just to get people excited and motivated and proud to be a Golden Eagle. I used to host them in high school, and I know what it can do for a school and building school spirit. So that's one way.
One of the key things that we focus on is communication between SA and the student body. And as I mentioned before, I've hosted a political talk show on campus here for a year and a half, and one thing that I'm very in favor of coordinating is having a segment once a month on my show where either me or Jonathan come out on TV that we broadcast to the students and also online, pretty much like a state of the student body, like what we've done this month to keep you informed, and also an increase in 2-way communication so that we can hear what you want.
Okay, this next question, I'm going to let you guys decide who answers, but I only want one person from each ticket answering. What do you and the other candidates disagree on? Basically, what makes you the better vote? And we'll start with Jonathan and Kai. One of you can talk. You have 40 seconds.
I don't necessarily believe that this is a race involving policies. I believe it's a race involving character and qualifications. I believe that we are the most qualified ticket, and I believe that we are the best choice. I don't know of any specific large issues that we disagree on, so I don't think that's necessarily an issue right now. However, character and qualifications are key here. I think that's what you need to keep in mind.
I can agree with that. I don't really see that I disagree so much with any other person's campaign strategy. I really do think we have similar hearts and similar visions for this place and for ORU. One thing that I believe sets us apart, if I can talk personally here, would be, I believe my best skill set and the thing that I can bring to the table best is my experience in cultivating community within a group of people. I know that I've kind of been attacked with being just an AA and SA. However, what I can say is my experiences before even coming to college and bringing people together and rallying them to work well as a team is what is required as Student Association President. It's creating a cabinet of people who love their job in SA, want to work hard and dedicated to service, and I believe that's what I can do best. Thank you.
I think that it's evident that all of us here are leaders. I think that if we weren't leaders, we wouldn't be here. I think that if we didn't have some form of experience, we wouldn't be here. But as far as what experience means to us might look different to what experience means to some other tickets, such as the fact that Sierra works with administration. She legitimately talks to them almost every other day. She spends time with them. They know her name already. They know her personally. And then I would also say, obviously, the experience that I've had in SA. So I'd say that's the only other thing. But that's not to discredit anyone else. That's just to state what I think is different.
Okay, this question is for Joe. Joe, is it true that we have seen you on the man team calendars all over campus? How has mission shaped your view of leadership?
That's an amazing question, because if I can speak personally for a second, missions has really helped bolster my faith and also helped me to be a great leader. I was placed as the chairman of fundraising for a man team this year, and actually creating the man team calendar was the idea of Jordan Carter last year, who's our TL, and then this year I facilitated it being created, helping plan out everything, and basically found a printer, all this type of stuff. So the reason it got created was through the work that we did together, but also through me administrating it. And so, but it's also helped my faith in such a great way. I asked God, if you put me on this team, would you show yourself to me? I expected him to show himself to me when we went, but he did it before we even went. He did it when we were still here at ORU. And I'm just so blessed to be on that team and then have learned from it as well.
Okay, this one's for everyone, so you're going to have 25 seconds again. We're going to start with Jonathan and Kai. What are your weaknesses that would hinder your performance?
Honestly, I'm human. I'm not perfect. I have faults, and I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, and you know, chances are at one point or another I might make a mistake, and I really feel that that's my biggest flaw. I'm working on becoming who I am meant to be in Christ, and it's a process. It's a process that I'll be going through until the day I die. But you know, I promise you that as SAVP, I will try to not make any mistakes, but if I do, I'm sincerely sorry.
Well, as far as weaknesses go, kind of like you said, we are flawed. And there's no way to really get around it. But what I'm excited about, and one reason why I chose Kai to be my partner, is because I know his strengths are my weaknesses. Some of my strengths are his weaknesses. And we really counter each other because we're so diverse. I don't really know what to name right off the bat as far as a specific one, but I do know that this guy, he's going to pick me up in the areas where I am weak.
As a testament to the transparency that Gentry and I have both with each other and with the student body, I can say that something that a weakness of mine would be the fact that I have struggled with faith. But God has really shown himself. The reason I chose ORU was between ORU and a different school, and I was like, God, I'm going to pick ORU because I want you to show yourself here. I came to ORU, and I changed so dramatically as a student here, and then also being involved in other things. So I would say that God has really grown to me in that capacity, as far as weakness goes.
When I think of weakness, I would have to say because we all have weaknesses, but to be transparent and to really get to know me, I would have to look at my ability to like really juggle everything in my head. Sometimes if there's like right now currently serving as an RA, admissions team leader, working in SA and taking 8.5 credits, it's like sometimes balls get dropped. And so as long as I can maintain great organizational skills and bring together a team that can help keep me accountable to keeping on task, I believe that is the one thing that could hinder. But with dropping all those other responsibilities and just looking on SA, I can see how that could be improved.
It's very similar to Gentry's in the sense that every other week I work 3 jobs. In the weeks that I don't work 3, I'm working 2 in order to be here. So I'd say my greatest weakness is just the fact that I don't have the time right now. I don't have the time to commit, and that's simply because I want to be here. You know, if I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be working so hard. But if I was to get this position, I would be able to cut back on my other job, still have to keep it, but cut back on it so that I can be even more efficient than I already am, working as hard as I am.
I would say one of my weaknesses is that I tend to push myself more than too hard, and you can ask any of my friends and the girls on my floor. A lot of times this takes out time from my own life. I don't sleep much. Oftentimes I go without eating because I'm always pushing myself a little bit too hard, and I don't necessarily give my own self time to recuperate.
This next question is for Gentry and Joe. Would you be interested in changing the name of SA to the Social Club, since it seems that's what most of your campaign talks about?
That's so funny. I don't know whoever sent that in, because that's actually what we plan on doing. It's just tricking our minds. That was a really nice dig, though, whoever sent that in. No, I'd say a lot of the things we do focus on are social, because that's what SA is. That's what SA represents. Nice laugh over there. And but at the same time, we've adamantly talked about our vision being to pull the hearts of students into ministry and to be involved. And SA represents services, activities, and representation, but it can also represent spirituality and bringing all those things in together.
Yeah, I mean, cultivating the community is one of our goals, and that's one of their goals, and I think everyone's goal. And so, yes, we want to be more able to be in better communication with everybody, but a social club, I think that's MOG. That's the social club. And student association, what we want to do, we do have specific ideas, and we do have specific things for services. And I've worked in services this year, specifically with shuttles. And so there's great ideas that we have had. I can't share them right now because I have 15 seconds. But with activities and services, there is specific ideas that we want to do. And the best thing that we want to do is create a team of very qualified people working together to create the best things that we can do. So what I want to do is cultivate community in SA office, that we can work well with walls down, communicate between the other branches in SA, and provide the best services we can for you guys.
This next one is for the vice presidential candidates, and I'm going to give you 10 seconds because it's a really easy question. You should know the answer. How much money have you spent on your campaign? We'll start with Kai.
$105. Me personally, and I
No, as the group,
as a
together.
group, 277, I believe.
Yeah, about 340 to probably 360 ish is where we're at. Minus 25 for renting a room last night. So.
I think about 230, 250. So we've been trying to be conservative about it since it's coming out of our pockets.
Thank you, guys. This is for the presidential candidates. We're going to start with Gentry and we'll work our way around. What is God currently teaching you, and have you made Him a priority this week?
What a great question. Yes, I have made God a priority this week. I don't know how I could be getting to this week if God wasn't a priority this week. One thing that I thought was really strategic is the way the Lord led me into this election. I believe that in coming into this time in this season of my life, I felt God really stripping me away of the things that I thought about how other people viewed me, or how much I cared about other people's opinions. And He just really brought me to a place of isolation where I learned a lot of dependence and trust and really just dependence upon Him, upon His Word, to give me everything that I need to sustain me. So as I walk into this position, as I walk into this election, He is the one that gets me through it, and not any people, and I'm not fazed by everything that's going on around me. So God is priority.
I think one thing that God's been teaching me through this week is just how to be broken, and that's something that we talked about wanting to be is to share our brokenness with you all and to allow each other to be broken together. But God has really, and not even just this week, throughout the last month there have been circumstances that have happened that God has really taught me how to have faith in Him even when I'm a broken person, and to be confident that through my brokenness He's continuing to work. And this week especially, I share with you that I struggle with finding time for myself. That hasn't lacked this week, but one thing that I have done is definitely spent the time that I've needed to with the Lord, and He's continued to talk to me and speak with me and through me this entire week.
God has reminded me that He is my strength, my source, and my refuge. During this week, there hasn't been a whole lot of rest in the physical, but I've had to learn how to rest in Him. He's taught me how to do that. Also, I've been reminded that when going gets tough, what do you have to do? You got to keep on going. And adversity is something that we can't succumb to, but we will succumb to it if we don't have Him and we're not leaning on Him, holding His hand through the whole process. So God has really been just completely amazing, as He always has been. But this week has really been on display, and I really am, lucky, blessed to be able to experience that this week.
This question is for the vice presidential candidates, and we're going to start with Karis. All of you have said that you want to hear the students' opinions. How will you accomplish this?
Primarily through surveys. Sierra and I have talked a lot about that. Surveys are so pivotal because they're so direct and so honest. Also, as you can even see, even through our Facebook group, we've been as intentional as we possibly can be to answer your questions, and not only just answer them briefly, but to give detail in them, which shows you that we obviously care, and we obviously want to listen.
I believe there's already a program called Speak Up ORU where students can submit their different ideas and things like that. And so I would love to see that advertised more and to grow more so that we can get the opinion from a larger amount of students, as well as simple things like sitting in Saga at a table, just having a pen and paper and just talking to people as they go by, saying like, what do you want to see? Like, this is the kind of things that we've heard. What do you think about these ideas? And so I think being face-to-face as well as utilizing technology to get feedback from all the students.
How many of you actually know what the GA does? See, that to me is a problem, because you don't know what it does. The GA is supposed to represent you. You apparently elected 20 of us to represent you. You have not talked to us, you've not given your ideas, and that's our fault because we haven't come to you. But that's also because you have not been communicated that we are here for you. And so that's something, along with communication, we talked about, is we want to make communicative systems more open to students. Another idea that Jesse and I had was to have some type of either a social chair or an SA representative on each floor so that they could get specific input to that person who could then come and meet with like an AA who would be in charge of it, and they can present ideas directly to SA.
Okay, we're going to ask this one of the presidential candidates, and we're going to start with Sierra. In your opinion, what is the biggest downfall of the current SA administration?
I would say the biggest downfall is the lack of balance. If you look at the qualification, what Karis would have to do as a vice president versus what I would have to do, there's a lot that's put on her shoulders. And I don't think it's due to what the current administration is going through. It's just something that was set into place. So I think that's something that is a downfall. Right now, the responsibilities of the vice president are honestly too much and shouldn't be. There needs to be balance across the board. we need to be able to work together. That's something that we really want to do, is sit down and find ways to balance the responsibilities of the role.
The current administration and SA, in my opinion, have done a very good job over the last couple of years. But I do see need for improvement when it comes to uniting people and getting everybody together. A lot of segments in our student body, they still feel neglected. We talk about communities, we talk about internationals, and so on and so on. And I feel that, with Kainai, that's what we're really representing, and we're trying to run on the fact that we're trying to get the university united and bring everybody together. And there's ways that we can do that, and I feel that the current administration has given an effort, but it hasn't quite been aggressive enough in terms of reaching everybody and every man and every woman where they are. And that's what we're trying to bring to the table for you guys.
When I look at the current offices of president and vice president, and having a relationship with both of them personally, and working in SA and seeing them in the office, one thing I can see that can be improved is the communication between the two offices. They're both incredibly competent people and doing great things, but in some ways it seems like we're going two separate directions. What Joe and I want to do is be very much in the same heart, with similar visions going the same place. And that means starting here on ORU, on this campus. And it starts with us, honestly. It starts with my relationship with Joe, infiltrates into the cabinet, infiltrates into the office of SA, and then pours out into the entire student body. So it's right here, and then goes out to you guys. So that's what we would like to see improved.
Okay, this is what we need for everyone to go in 25 seconds, so articulate quickly. Who is your role model and why? And we're going to start with Joe, work our way around.
I'd say that my role model would be my father, and it's going to be cheesy because everyone's going to probably name someone close to them. But my father's a man who resembles charisma, but also a genuine love for people that I could never truly replicate. But that's the reason why I love people so much, as much as I do, is because I try to live it out in my life. So I'd say that man is definitely my role model.
When I think of role models, I think of my experiences before coming to ORU. I was able to be blessed with some amazing mentorship in my life. And the one particular man, whose name means nothing to you because you don't know him, Randy Olson, was someone that really took me under his wing and really instilled into me a lot of great character qualities. And one thing that I loved that he used to do with me, he used to take me running all the time with him, and we would pray together, and he really encouraged me in my identity. And I was excited to tell him that this month I ran my first trail marathon. So that was really cool.
This is a very important question to me. It is by far my mother. When my father passed away, my mother stood up and pulled my family together. Pulled herself together first so that she could do that, and still to this day runs my father's nonprofit organization. And I'm just, my mind is just blown at the fact that she's able to do all the stuff that she does.
I would say my role model is my little sister, Catherine. She's 18. We started a nonprofit in my sophomore year because my brother is in the Army and he served overseas and saw a lot of people get hurt. And it was Catherine's idea to go into veterans hospitals and to give them handkerchiefs and to bless their lives. And she's just in turn blessed my life more than any little sister ever could have.
I know the question asks for one, but I have two. It is my dad and my twin brother. And it's because when I was 12, my mother passed away. And it was over the following years that I really drew close with my father and my brother. We supported each other. And my dad recently got married, and my twin brother and I were his best men. And we have an understanding that, when my brother and I get married, my father and my brother will be my best man, and my father and I will be my brother's best man. And we're very close, and I can't think of anyone else.
I have the honor and privilege to say that my greatest role model is here today, my father. realize he's a man of he has flaws, and I've watched him really overcome those, and he's the most compassionate person I've ever met, and I really try to mirror that trait he has, and I think it's going to really go well when I begin interacting with you guys. Just trying to identify with you guys and meet you guys where you are with the love of the Lord.
Okay, this next question is for all the presidential candidates. We'll start with Jonathan. How will you gear more events towards international and minority students?
I've been waiting for that one. Unity, bringing everybody together. Oral Roberts, believe it or not, a lot of us here are from the States, but Oral Roberts University is super, super big internationally. And it is a dream to come true for those who get to come here. We take it for granted, but we really need to acknowledge the fact that these international students love our university, and we have to get them more, get them engaged here with more cultural events. As far as minorities go, talking to Dexter about what he had proposed was a plan called Office of Diversity, which would be navigating within the the admissions department and soliciting students from high school that Oral Roberts really hadn't tried to reach before. That would be something I would really champion for, because I realize that I'm blessed to be in school here.
Thank you, Jonathan.
The diversity of ORU is definitely something to be celebrated. And one thing in being here, I can honestly say I've appreciated is getting to know so many different people from so many different countries and backgrounds. And I actually had a great long conversation with somebody last night about this. And I really appreciate her insight and her opinions. And one thing that we would love to do is to learn ways to celebrate that diversity. And I mean, even speaking with Dexter about the same thing, the Office of Cultural Diversity. Those are things that we want to do is really get into the relationships that we have built with international students so they can come and talk to us, and that we can help them in providing best ways to present their activities through the ISO, creating better ways to get them out, as well as hearing their voice and maybe building a committee where we can bring them together to bring into upper administration to see what changes we can make to improve their life.
Thank you, Gentry.
Yep.
Up until about 3 weeks ago, I didn't understand the direct needs of international students, but I met with the international student organization officers, learned their heart. I did it on behalf of GA because we do have a committee that meets about cultural diversity on campus. So hearing their hearts and the things that they want to see happen on campus, I realized that they are an entity within themselves, and their desires and their needs and their wants are so specific and need to be heard to the student body. So I think creating events and activities that showcase where they come from, who they are, and what their culture is will connect us all.
This is for whichever one of your pair you would like to answer it, so you will have one person speak. What experience do you have that will help you manage the SA budget? And we're going to start with the girls at the end and work our way around.
I would say that the greatest experience I have right now is the fact that I'm given a budget. In my job, I am given a specific amount of money to allocate to my events. I am not to go over them, and if at all possible, I am to go under. So I would say that I already have experience, especially planning homecoming. That involved a good portion of money, and I needed to make sure to allocate it appropriately and make sure that you guys are actually going to get the value of however much money it is that I spent, and also the matter of keeping track of all of that.
For me, I've had the opportunity to work with my dad quite a bit. He's a financial consultant, and actually one of the projects we're working on right now is working and proposing to the city of Tulsa a new winter storm and disaster response program. And so working on projects like that over the years have really given me a good understanding of how to create a budget, as well as being able to apply that to other things like the seminar I mentioned earlier we coordinated in China, other different events. Being able to apply what I've learned with my dad to actual real-life events, I think has been great because I've learned on two different levels.
One of the main aspects that I think that the reason why Gentry and I would do a great job with that is because we're both actually finance majors, and so a great deal of our time is spent in classes that are focusing on finances, on the world and markets. And so, alongside that, I think both of our skill sets are very much organized. I'm a very organized person, very administrative. I like to know exactly what everything's doing. The first thing that we want to do once we enter office is to completely go through and see how everything runs departmentally, budget-wise, organizationally, and just see what we can do to make it better. And that would go directly and especially into the budget. And so that's something that I think we both have the skill set that could accomplish those tasks efficiently and effectively.
I just lost this question. Dang it, I have a good one. Okay, everyone keeps talking about communication. How do you plan to improve communication with the commuters and include them more on campus events? And we'll do this the same way, choose one person to talk.
Well, indeed, I am a commuter, and I know what they're talking about. We don't really know about what's going on campus. Even when it comes down to snow days, the email just doesn't cut it. So what we really want to do is try to, well, one thing we talked about was creating a link on the website, which is specifically for non-traditional commuters. They will have a place to go to look for housing, especially those who are from out of town and are in the middle of nowhere here. As far as for the commuters that are not, of age, we would try to make it more friendly environment here for those guys and get their lounge up the par. It's not really that hot right now, so commuters.
Yeah, and similarly, in this past semester, I remember working down in the office one day, and a commuter came in, and she spoke with me for a good 45 minutes and just drilled me with everything about essay. And I really appreciated her coming down and just even introducing herself. And it's been fun to be able to see her on campus now and create a face with her. So Megan, if you're here, I don't think she's here, but one thing that Joe and I talked about when we're talking about getting out to commuters is using the systems that we have in place. And one of the things that everyone has basically this time in our life is a Facebook. So we have an ORU SA Facebook page that we need to get promoted better so everyone gets to be a part of it. And then what Joe and I actually want to do is film a video every single week of the events that are coming up and post it on our Facebook where commuters can watch it.
I know we've talked about this before, but I was talking with a community the other day about lack of communication. One way we want to get commuters more involved is to understand what they want and need. I'm not a commuter. I can't speak on behalf of commuters. What I can do is give them an opportunity to speak. That's what I want to do. Actually, in GA, we're establishing a survey right now that Kirsten and I have talked about really refining and sending out to commuters to see what they want, what they need, and making sure that it gets developed and back to us, and that we spend this summer really harvesting those things and seeing them come to pass. So that's what I want to do, is really get the needs of the commuters, because I can't speak on behalf of them at this moment.
We're going to go the same way, just choose someone to answer this question. We'll start with Gentry and Joe. What ideas do you have for increasing participation in clubs?
One of the things that we mentioned earlier was about a social chair or like an essay person who would be on each floor. And so the cool thing was that with that would be that they kind of get to be the voice and people can give them ideas and they can in turn give them to us. But another thing would be, we talked about how currently there's actually a president's club where all presidents come together and they facilitate ideas. However, I don't think that's really been managed as well. I would love to make that a monthly thing, have like a president's or an officer's club. And the cool thing about that is it would allow all of these heads of these clubs to come together, kind of actually create relationships, not once a semester, but multiple times a semester, and then, collaborate ideas to get more people to come and be a part of clubs.
We know that clubs and organizations, our department, is definitely something that we would like to target. If you guys don't know, we actually already have a social chair. Each floor is actually supposed to already have a social chair, and they have social chair meetings, which is actually hosted by Whitney Owings, who is in the activities department. But I do understand that there is we should find ways to better that in order to make sure that that the social chairs do desire to be there, which is not directly reflecting Whitney, but it is reflecting pride. Pride is actually one of our key topics or one of our key focuses that we really want to make sure you guys know that we realize needs some help. So.
I was actually just speaking with Andrew Shoflet, the president of the Parkour Club, about this the other day. And we're really looking into different ways to advertise the clubs. We can get creative. As I've mentioned a few other times during this forum, I do host a political talk show on campus, and we're looking into actually creating ORU club commercials to run on my show. That way they're online and on Channel 15. That way we can have different channels to make sure that the students know about it, and fun ways too. I mean, putting like ORU student-made commercials on TV and online, it's a lot of fun, it's new, it's creative, it's innovative, and it's stuff that'll advertise the clubs.
Okay, we're going to have one more question, and then we'll have closing remarks from the candidates. Just for all of you to know, voting opens tonight at midnight. It'll run all day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so you can vote on vision. So, one last question. This is for the presidents. We're going to start with Jonathan. Can you explain in the simplest terms what SA does?
What SA does, what SA's responsibility is to be represent you guys, listen to you guys, and find out what is logical, like I said, and what is the most feasible and reachable goals. It's all about representation. It's all about communication, and we want to take on that responsibility and bring everybody together and make sure everybody's voice is being heard. So SA also is a spiritual element, has spiritual responsibilities as well, to make sure everybody's knowing what's going on with their Heavenly Father, make sure everybody's connected, hold each other accountable. There's a lot of responsibilities there, but to sum it up, communication, unity, and also making sure we're in tune with our spiritual and our spiritual walks.
In the simplest terms, SA is services, activities, and representation. And I believe we have great ideas for each one of those individual needs, and it's something that we want to bring into a position of better systems to make those happen, and excited about what this next year could look like.
What Gentry just mentioned is the actual mission statement of Student Association. That encompasses everything that SA is. On top of that, I would say that SA is an entity for potential. What SA is an organization that gives you, the students, the potential to excel and have the best 4 years at this university that you can have.
Okay, at this point, we're going to give each campaign 1 minute for closing remarks. We'll start here and work our way down the line. You can split up the time as you wish. You have 1 minute.
Well, I think everybody here, all three tickets, we really love this campus, and that's pretty evident. But I really want you guys tonight, starting tonight, to get out there and vote on who you think is the most capable, most qualified for this position. SA is going through transitions right now. We've had a great president the last few years, and somebody's got to take it up where it is now and keep on going with the torch. So I really, guys, everybody, just pray about this. And this is really important. Don't be inactive and not vote. That's the worst thing we can do. Let's make sure we get out there and get our friends to vote, and next year is going to be pretty exciting.
Our vision is that if we're elected, we'll work with the cabinet and the staff of SA to put on quality, cost-efficient events, and also increase communication with the student body, two-way communication, so that we can let you know what's going on and get your input so that we can further represent you guys. And through that communication, provide excellent representation to the administration.
I think one of the greatest things, I mean, we can say all these things. Student association represents these three things: services, administration, activities, and representation. But we really do need to step back, and that's what Ginger and I have done, and seen that SA provides the opportunity for students to become leaders, and that's what we'd love it to be. But not only that, that SA can also provide the opportunity for students to effectively begin entering the ministry that is their lives. And so, as president and as vice president, we want to create that potential for people. So you can go and read, and we can tell you all we want about the 3 things that we stand for. We could sit here all day and list out things. But really it comes down to a heart thing and what we want SA to represent. And that's just a place where students can lead and they can grow.
That's right. We're excited about the future of ORU. Some of the brightest days of this place are yet to come. And what we want to do in moving forward is not lose sight of why this place was founded. And so we're excited about that. We're excited to serve. We're excited to lead. And we really do believe we are the best to prepare to lead this university in the next year. And excited about creating a team that will best bring ORU to the next place. So thanks.
First and foremost, I want to say that we want to let you guys know that no one off the bat can be Dexter or Derek. It's a brand new year with brand new leadership, and you have to expect brand new things from them. What I do want to say, Karis and I want to emphasize that you should vote informed. Vote on the people that are the quality ticket, that have the most experience. Vote with how you feel you need to vote, and do your research. We all have websites. All of our websites clearly define what we stand for. So I want you guys to know that our heart is that you vote informed with a good, solid foundation on who you are voting for. It's so important that you put friendship aside, that you put relationship aside, and you vote on issues and what you want to see happen in SA next year. That is what is important. It's important that you see the potential that we as SA have, and that is both Karis and my heart, is that you guys would vote informed with how you feel the candidates are the best.